Hello, everyone. I can see Munchie Chris fan clubs here, Barnstead boys here. The Preity Upala fan club is probably not far away. It's quite astounding how much you guys have been missed. I feel a bit inadequate sometimes because they go, "Oh, where's Chris? Where's Preity?" I said, well, "What about me? I'm here."
Well, they just know the quality when they see it, don't they, Preity? You know, they just they appreciate proper people.
But Chris, you're supposed to not talk now. You're supposed to let me talk and praise you. But you had to chime in, didn't you? You had to chime in.
Of course.
Preity, what time is it there? 7:30 in the morning.
It's 7:30 a.m.
I almost forget to introduce you now because it's so much like a glove on a hand. I know you guys. It's like it was only. But of course, everybody needs to know this is Chris Vernon at Vernon158 and Preity Upala at the Preity Experience Effect. God knows how many other handles she's got. Namaste. Did you miss me? Can I get something clear? Did you miss me at all, or was there any?
No.
I've been too busy island hopping and going to very exotic destinations.
Oh,
yeah, and
you are just bragging your bottom off. This is terrible.
And I've had books to return.
I'm just joking.
You know. I never do that. Never.
Oh, look at you! You're slipping in island hopping. The rest of the world is all they're doing is maybe room hopping. That's about all they're doing. Except for Australia. Australia can go any bloody where. We can go anywhere. No masks, nothing. We can even go to New Zealand as of next, I think, the week and a bit away. All right. So, guys, it's been a marathon. We're still running. Manu John's talking about you. You thawed out now, Chris. Is it freezing there?
We have had a couple of cold days, and it's Easter holidays, so I've done a couple of days cricket coaching, and it snowed yesterday and the day before. It was Baltic. It was, I think I had 6 or 7 jumpers on. So. And
you had a rabbit in the nets too, which was funny. Did you see that?
That was last week. Yeah, I mean, it must have just been an omen after obviously the South Sydney bunnies or the rabbits. So one of the kids I coach, his dad is from Australia, and he actually had a Cruella Sharks jersey on.
Cruella Sharks.
Yeah. See, that's a proper name for a side, the Sharks. And you know, that's like an imposing, like the Bears or the Lions. You know, like not the bunnies or the rabbits or the roosters. You know, that's not an imposing name, is it?
Look, when a team's won 21 competitions, you can't deny they're the best team. Okay, Ravi Shastri Jr. is saying DC, CSK, RCB, KKR will qualify. I'm glad he's put us on track. Otherwise, we've been talking other things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I thought that's what we were talking about, or going to be talking.
Pretty's getting nasty now. Ooh, look at the.
Excuse me, I'm not. Nasty and me don't go together.
Pretty's just looking forward to the IPL starting, I think, as we all are.
Well, the fact is, I've been talking about it quite a bit. Thank you very much. And the reality is, we've got 8 teams, and it looks as though 5 of the 8 teams, or at least in my idea of the ones which are most likely to be battling it out, there are 3 teams that will be probably lagging behind, unfortunately. But we'll wait and see. They might surprise us. So, just can I quickly tell you? Okay, I need to say hello to a few people very quickly. Bill, Bobby, Austin, Trevor, and there's a whole bunch of people that I've met throughout today that all wanted to be mentioned today, so I'm mentioning them. I had a fair few interviews as well with some real estate people here. I had an amazing look at Pat Cummins' house. Did you see that one, Preity? Did you see Pat Cummins' house?
No, I've been too busy.
Oh, here we go.
Future Australian Test captain Pat Cummins.
No.
Vice captain.
He has a place in Bronte for 9.5 million.
I know. Hey, thank you, IPL. He's done very well.
But the thing is that the most expensive place in that street was only about 5, maybe 6. So he's paid overs.
I agree with you. I was thinking that's a lot of money for that part of Sydney.
Well, it's semi-detached. It's attached to the other side. I mean, come on.
I mean, it's not Darling's Point. It's not Potts Point. Not a mansion on Potts Point, right?
Well, imagine what
No,
they're
that's
worth.
30. Those
They're
are 30
20
million.
plus. They're 20 plus. All right, which I know that 9.5 million Australian dollars is 54 crores. Okay.
How much?
All right.
How many pounds is that?
IPL.
9.5.
IPL. Now, the 8 teams are rearing up. Their social media platforms are going absolutely crazy. But it's very frustrating because, okay, they're showing intimate videos of the players, which is great. I do love that. But we're getting a facade of happiness, goodness, perfection. Everyone's happy, which is quite, I would argue, disturbing, because there are a lot of players that are actually suffering big time in the various forms of quarantine. Of course, Daniel Sams, who's actually from around the corner here, was tested positive for COVID-19, asymptomatic, but it's still disturbing. We've got a number of other players that are also, like Aksa Patel there's one of the people who work the grounds. There's the plumber. There's all sorts of people that are starting to really infiltrate what is meant to be an inner sanctum of, what would you call it? Inner sanctum of, a bubble, which is a worry, isn't it? When you start infiltrating a bubble with COVID-19, it's there. You can't isolate it any further. It's rampant, and I think there's going to be a few issues that we're not going to hear about just now, but they're going to get worse, to be very honest. A couple of South African, Norge and Rabat, have arrived. They must be stuffed, not only because they're in quarantine. They're meant to be quarantined for how long in India? It's not 2 weeks, I can assure you.
I think
it's only a handful of days.
Is it a week?
7 days, I think, for but a hard quarantine. You cannot get out of the room kind of quarantine.
Yeah, that's what it should be. That is what quarantine should be. It shouldn't be anything less than that. And the reality is, is Saxon still in hospital? Munchie's asking. I believe he is. He's a lot worse than they're making out. Actually, they're saying he's okay, but they're not telling the truth. I reckon. Okay. No crowds. Yes, Ravi Shastri said there's no crowds. Empty IPL matches, empty media, empty everything. The place is going to be like a ghost town. The most disturbing thing is that there's still Maharashtra, as we know, is a disaster. They're all in the Taj Mahal Palace there, which is a beautiful hotel, but that's a fairly breezy hotel. I don't think there's much hope of stopping it there. Okay, now we've got lots of major news going on. I'm going to tell you something that happened to me today, and I'm probably going to repeat it later as well. I went to court today about a parking fine. A stop sign fine, right? 18 months. And what happened in court today? What do you reckon happened?
You won.
You got off.
I won. The nasty police officer was standing there, and the magistrate looked at the police officer, looked at me and said, dismissed. Huge.
Did he say, you're Norman Kochnak from Eyes on Cricket?
Yeah, of course. Now, Preity, it's like in Australia, you don't get off stops. There's no way. It was a double demerits points from Australia Day. They loved it, but I put my case forward.
That's right.
Yeah, and I'm very happy. So I ran into there like I won lotto. I was telling all the people waiting to go into court, keep fighting, you can get off, guys, and they're all ecstatic, and I pumped them all. It was a lot of fun, to be honest. All right. I hope there will be a video of Chris getting a duck this Saturday. Oh, so your dad's telling you're going to get a duck this Saturday?
Yeah, it's our first game. It's I bought 15 pairs of hand warmers in preparation. I think it's going to be 7 or 8 degrees here Saturday, so it's certainly not going to be like playing in Chennai, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone's just looking forward to getting out, to be honest.
All right, we're going to talk about the cap that you're wearing. We're going to talk about Preity's holiday as well, certainly. But we need to talk about it. I'm going to smile, guys. Big smile. Isn't it funny? We have to smile and prepare our head when we're live. That's funny. Okay. All right. You guys are seasoned journalists now. You're seasoned commentators. You're a slick go-to bunch. Did you realise that now? I mean, not that you deserve to, think anything other than that. You are very deserving of it. But, I mean, I know Preety's had a lot of experience with other platforms, yes. But this is cricket. This is cricket here. This is hardcore cricket. All right? Now,
I'm used to talking about defense and nuclear technology and stuff like that. Trust me, that's more intense. So this is like a breath of fresh. It's like a relief for me. I can take some time out of my crazy life and just say, okay, I don't have to talk about life and death anymore, and just maybe talk about a game. But that's why I try to bring what. But that's why I try to bring a more sort of geopolitical aspect to it, because there is one. It's deeper than that. And
hang on, a geopolitical aspect of cricket.
Absolutely. And not just with cricket, with any sport, with anything in life. Because I think now politics is so intertwined in all facets of our life. Just the way that the world is going and the way that governance is turning out to be. Especially when you look at the US, you look at the greatest democracies in the world, you look at India and so on. So somebody like myself with my background has a very unique perspective on all of this. It's not just a game. It's so much more.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt. That's why we have you here, Preity, because you are a valued member of this team. Okay. Norman can't spell geopolitical. Barnstead boy, I'm telling you now, you're cruising for a bruising, pal. All right? I'm perfect. I have a Bachelor of Economics, majoring in a number of things. I'm worldly, so I know what a geopolitical situation is. Standpoint, I should say.
To be fair, I wouldn't. I would be interested to listen to some of Preety's chats, because I have a degree in geography, but I think it's quite an intense. It's a lot different, isn't it? And it's something that I think even if you sit, I think even though Preity talks about it, she's probably learning new things all the time, and it's sort of a never changing field, isn't it? So.
Yeah, some of my interviews have gone on for 3.5 hours.
Well,
no notes.
That's pretty intense.
That's more than Norman's solo shows.
Yeah, but I'm talking about what's been happening in the world for the last 5,000 years. So it's very complex.
I'm actually very upset with. I'm going to put it on record now. I'm very upset with Preity, because she has never invited me to one of her bloody geopolitical talks.
What are you going to speak about, though? What exactly are you going to speak about?
Rishabh Pant.
I'll talk about the state of affairs between the Sino-American peace treaties that have gone on in the past.
There is none, but anyway. I wish there was one.
Okay. Norman dropped his bunny cup. No, I didn't drop my bunny cup. I actually dropped this particular Pride of the League. Did you see that? That's amazing.
Is that the rabbits? Yeah.
Did you actually? We had a very sad day. A very famous rugby league player died yesterday, Tom Braidonicus, who was the star of the New South Wales state side. He termed the term cattle dog. When he called cattle dog, his team erupted into a brawl. It was very impressive. Okay, all right, we really are off topic. Okay, Now IPL, 8 teams. I'll just rattle off some of the teams, and I want you all to mention one word when I say that, one word that sums up the team in your eyes. Okay.
Oh God.
All right.
Okay.
KKR. Preity.
I want to say dark horse, but there's another dark horse, so I don't think I'm going to use dark horse with them.
You've just used it. It's too late now.
I'll say dark horse.
Dark horse, Chris.
Underachievers, underperformers, one of the two.
Underachievers, underperformers. Okay, that's pretty hard. Okay, I would say KKR are. I'd say they're consistently close, which is not good enough. Okay. Punjab Kings, Chris.
The universe boss.
Oh God, here we go.
No, hell no.
Okay, all right. That doesn't mean anything because he's playing, doesn't it? Okay, Preity.
Punjab Kings, the most disappointing IPL team in history.
Well, that's a heavy statement, but I think You're not exactly far from
They've done the worst.
Have they
Okay,
won
what about
one?
the other Kings?
Have they
Chennai
won one?
Super Kings. Chennai Super Kings.
The reason why IPL exists.
The reason why what? IPL exists.
The reason why IPL exists in terms of for the sake of the CSK fans. It's a very emotive team. So, and I think regardless of how they do, it's always Tala, you know. Yeah, lots of love there.
They were one of the first teams I got very close to about a good 10 years ago when they had like some, I think Hussey, Pathan, they played. I got very close to them, actually. I spent a lot of time with them. I was actually in Chennai for quite a bit with Kunal Sharma, who was sponsoring Spartan. That was under the conditions of Dhoni. Chris, what conjures up CSK when he hears CSK?
This year, I think they're a bit old, a bit past. I think they need a refresh. I think there's a few guys there that are.
I said one word, not an essay.
Okay, bottom, last. I think they finished last.
Okay, all right. So you're saying that when you think of Chennai Super Kings, you think of bottom? Okay, that's a
just for this year. Just for this year.
Not going to happen.
Do you understand what that relationship? I've got no idea. CSK and bottoms. Okay.
You've got everything else wrong, Chris. This will be another one.
Possibly.
All right.
I just think that they're they need a refresh. I think that they're.
So that is true. The refresh bit is true, but yeah.
I just look at the squad.
CSK is dead. They're spent, missing Alex Hales. Yeah. Okay. Another one of these. We've got two teams with the name Kings, which unfortunately means bottom of the table, and the other one which has the same connotation of royal, but not Royal Challengers Bangalore, but the other one, Rajasthan Royals. What do you think of when you think of that?
Overhyped.
Overhyped?
Yeah, underperformers. Yeah.
Chris?
All fluff.
Yeah, I'd agree with Preity.
No, you can't agree with Preity. You've got to have a word.
I'm trying to think of one word.
If you had told us you're going to do this, I would. Because I'm very good with this stuff. But
that's the very reason I didn't tell you, because
I'll sum it up in a short sentence. Too reliant on overseas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
So
agreed.
There are two players in. Okay, we'll go through a few more teams, but there are two players that I want to know who they really are. Is it Muhammad Azharuddin, who's in his probably 60s, or is it a young version?
The young one.
Young one. And is it Shah Rukh Khan, the actor, or his?
No, it's the player. I know, it's very confusing.
I think the way that I would describe the Rajasthan compared to maybe Mumbai is that if you say Mumbai, you'd probably go, oh, Rohit Sharma, Jasprit Bumrah, Hardik Pandya, Ishan Kishan plays for them. Whereas you go Rajasthan, it's that's where Jofra Archer, Josh Butler, and Ben Stokes.
A bunch of English players,
yeah.
you know.
So it's the good IPL sides are the sides that have that really strong backbone of Indian players.
Yes.
Hence why Mumbai have done so well, because they've got Bumrah, Sharma, Hardik, Ishan Kishan, Sky Yadav, and then the overseas complement it. Whereas I think Rajasthan.
I asked for this? We're going into enough. Okay. We can talk about Mumbai Indians when I mentioned Mumbai Indians. We haven't mentioned it. Okay. All right. So I've gone through CSK, Punjab Kings. I've gone through Rajasthan Royals. I've mentioned KKR. That's 4, correct? 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about Sunrisers Hyderabad?
For me, they are the real dark horse. I really think they have a great. I would say they are overachievers given the squad and given the circumstances. They have more than performed, let's say.
Okay. All right. Good. Chris?
Yeah, underrated, I think, for this year.
Okay. All right. Now I've left 3 more, haven't I?
Mm-hmm.
I would argue they're the top 3.
Disagree.
Can I finish my sentence?
Yeah, go on. I'm just
Can I finish my sentence first? So can I finish my sentence? No. Okay. The 3 are with Mumbai Indians, Delhi Capitals, and what was the third?
Royal Challengers.
Bangalore. I argue they're the top three. Okay. All right. So let's talk about Mumbai Indians first. Chris, a word.
One word. Retaining? Question mark.
Retained? Question mark. Okay. Preity.
I'm gonna say a word in that Mumbaikars use, Amchi Mumbai. It's the most Desi team out of everyone, so it's the most Indian team, and that's why they do so well. So I'm gonna say it's the most.
Very, very good comment, actually. I think that's a very good comment. And not forgetting that with quarantine and with all the other issues, the team that's not the one team that's going to start the best is the most Indian teams, and maybe the ones that have got England players, but the South African players are going to be non-compass mentis. They're going to be hard to find. Okay, second last.
Well, that's not true because you think Delhi will win, and if Delhi wins, it means that their two South African fast bowlers will have to go well because they've got Nortje and Rabada. I think they've got.
Yeah, but it's not just them that are going to win. I think Delhi has Indian players as well.
But the reality is,
that's going to be their strike bowler. Did they finish second and third in the wickets last year? Nortje and Rabada, they were both right up there. So they're going to be their spearhead.
Who does Siraj play for?
RCB Siraj, I think.
Okay. All right.
RCB.
But I think it's the importance of Nortje and Rabada will come towards the end of the tournament when it counts. When it counts.
Yeah.
I almost think it's deliberate that they've come late. Okay. And someone, Zizan Islam is saying that Saqib Al Hussain is really bad for KKR. I don't think so. Why is he bad? Okay. Everything new is saying Hyderabad have Warner, Ashikar, Nabi, Jason Roy, Holder, Johnny Bairstow. Very hard to pick for players. Yeah, there's been constant comment about it's very hard to pick 4 players. They don't need to because they've got 50 games to play or whatever it is. That's complete rubbish. When it comes to the final match, when it becomes the serious end of the point of then they need to make those decisions. But throughout the season, they're going to chop and change left, right, and centre. So it's not relevant. They need more than 4 because they're going to be playing many games. Okay. So RCB, what do we say about RCB? Oh, by the way, Mumbai Indians, I'm going to use the word great, but not great enough.
That's 4 words, Norman.
They are pretty spectacular.
They won't win. Not that they don't, on paper, maybe, but not reality. Okay, Chris?
RCB.
The way you're touching your face, because like you've got a beard, but you haven't got a beard. So
I'm thinking, it's like I stroke my beard and I think overdue, about time. I think that time for them to step up and win one, I think.
Preity?
Overhyped, big question mark. I don't see them making the top 4.
Ooh.
Yeah.
My word is RCB. I have a word, one word. Maxwell. Remember that word. Remember the name, Maxwell.
I hope he goes well. I like they're my favorite team, RCB. Always have been. I like AB de Villiers. If Maxwell, de Villiers, and Kohli can have a good tournament, then that's probably up there with the most explosive sort of middle top order. Especially when you had Padikkal in there, who's going to open the batting. Young guy, but Kohli, de Villiers, Maxwell. If they get going, that's as good as any sort of 3, 4, 5. I would say they're probably going to bat 3, 4, 5. That's certainly one of the best. So hopefully, if they can have a good tournament, but RCB have always let themselves down on their bowling. They've always competed with the bat. They've always had Gale, Kohli, Villiers. They've never had any bowling to back up the batting. So hopefully, they've sorted those problems out.
Who are they?
Well, one's me.
Yeah, I know, I can see that.
The middle one is a great mate, Bruce Hawkins. He has the biggest memorabilia collection. He owns lots of land. He's a great guy. And the guy on the other end, who my finger's near, who's that?
I'm not sure.
His name is Arthur Watson. He's the most capped umpire ever. He was an umpire back when Viv Richards was playing in World Series cricket with Dennis Lilly and all those, and Jeff Thompson. He was the umpire. I think he's been in well over 1,000 first class or international matches. 1,000. Incredible. Good moment. Very nice.
Well, I just want to comment on that. There's a reason why RCB has never won anything. Just having a couple of good players doesn't mean anything. Every team has a couple of good players. Some have fantastic, captains and the best bowlers. I mean, look, you've got the best spinner in the world and so on. You have to look at the whole team, the dynamic, them coming together. And RCB obviously has not found the formula to use all these great players together. And some of them, I mean, yeah, AB, sure, he's good, but really, I mean, he's done with, with his career, so to speak. So
I think they've just always
a couple of good players.
I think they've just always gone batter heavy, especially the overseas. Yeah. Whereas look at Delhi last year, look at Mumbai. They tend to have
a balanced side because there are also some sides who are bowling heavy and they don't have. I mean, I would argue CSK is one of them. Their bowling is very good. Their batting really, they could.
But it's much easier for an average batting lineup to chase 130 if your bowlers have rolled them out than a good batting lineup to chase 230, isn't it? Which is what I think RCB's problem. I think they've always scored loads of runs. It's just when you've got no bowling, you're just never going to win any games. Or you struggle to win games.
Dreamer DD, let him speak.
For something's sake, that means.
Who are you talking about, Dreamer? Me? I don't let. Okay. I am faded. That's not me. I'm talking about someone's name. Which team is most exciting to him, according to you guys? For me, it's Delhi Capital. I am faded. I am a believer in I am faded. I agree with him. Okay. Now, the last but not least, maybe the first, is Delhi Capitals. What word comes to your mind, guys, when you say Delhi Capitals? Cat got your tongue?
I think.
Well, I'll go. Other than Bunt, Naya Delhi, which is New Delhi. This is a new Delhi. This is a new, and we say this in political terms. It's a new India. It's a new Delhi. But really, it's a team is really looking. I mean, look, I'm a big fan. I've always said that I do think it's going to be MI versus DC in the final. It's anybody's game. I think that MI still has that experience and that winning. The memory of winning so many championships. They are such great champions. They might just, cross the line this time again. But if anybody's going to give them a run for the money, it has to be Delhi. So I think the word I'm going to say is Naya Delhi, which is New Delhi.
Okay, excellent. Chris? Is that your word?
I don't think Delhi will do as well as you guys think. I just think they look, and I'm going to stick my neck out here because I think that's the point. I think their bowling is very, very sharp. I just worry if they're a little bit, if they're a batter or too light compared to Mumbai, who've got Sharma de Kock, Sky, Ishan Kishan, Hardik, and they can literally rattle off. I just look at DC and think, are they slightly? They've loaded the bowling. They've got Ashwin, the two Safas, Umesh Yadav's come in, Ishant Sharma's there, Amit Mishra's there, and I just worry, are they slightly a batter short, Delhi, to really challenge Mumbai side? That's why I don't think that they will necessarily win it, just because I think they're possibly a batter light.
If I'm not mistaken, I asked for one word.
Well, I gave a paragraph instead.
Huh?
I thought I'd just sum it up in a paragraph instead.
No, but a word. Give me a word.
Overrated.
Oh, overrated. I'll give you my word. In fact, I have 2 words, but I'll use them interchangeably.
And
Winner.
Okay.
And maybe the word balanced. And probably another word, punt.
Mhm. Definitely, punt is
There
the
you
key
go.
word.
I'm very smug. When a person fights a stop sign offence in court, he can say anything he likes. I was like a peacock walking out of that courtroom. My feathers were just flapping around. I told everybody when I walked out of that courtroom that I got off. I told everybody, even other police officers. And the guy that he walked in the room like this. Let me just imagine this is a police officer. But it was a dead set Chris Verner. And then when he heard the verdict, he went like this. He was like this. His jaw dropped, and I went. I had a bit of a. I smacked my hand. It's okay. You got to laugh, guys. It's funny.
Hilarious. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So that exercise proves something to me. That's a very important exercise to actually force you to say a word about a team unannounced, because your true reaction is what comes out. I think there's a fairly good reflection of what we've said. The ones you were disappointed with, or we had bad terms to say, overrated, or whatever the term was, the reality is they are probably the ones that won't do well. We all think that Mumbai Indians are likely to do well on paper. Sunrise Hyderabad's a charger. Delhi Capitals has probably got the right mood. And I say again about the videos that those damn social media platforms are putting out are so glossy, so perfect. Some games, nice food, there's this, there's that, warm and fuzzy. The players are there on a microphone saying how wonderful everything is. That's not telling us the reality. I would like to see behind the scenes discussion of where things are not going well. That's what I would like to see. And I think that we've had videos of late about Australia where they show the raw content. And I rather like that. They showed fights, they showed dissension. That's what we need to see. We need to see the reality, because I can assure you it's not as perfect as we think. At all. Especially
But
quarantine.
they wouldn't air their dirty laundry out anyway. Nobody, they all want to be positive and show that how hard they're training, how excited and confident they are. And it's good for the fans to, realize, wow, what a fantastic game we have.
But wouldn't you like to see one of the players saying, I'm struggling and I'm getting better?
Getting better, absolutely.
Okay. Would the Indian bowlers have practiced against punts, so know his weaknesses? Munchie's saying, well, yeah, but most of the bowlers that are really, they're hanging their hat on are not Indian bowlers. Most teams are hanging their hat on, Norgay or a Rabada, or a Pat Cummins or whomever. There's a lot more being put on those players. So I actually, on my honest opinion, I think Pat Cummins is going to have a poor time. I saw there was a state match, and I saw Stark bowling here in Australia. He looked pretty good. All right, okay. Now we'll go back in a bit more detail about that, guys. The teams where there's been COVID, like Daniel Sams plays for
Royal Challengers, I think.
Royal Challengers Bangalore.
Yes.
That has put the cat amongst the pigeons in that team. I'll tell you right now. Because what was worse was he was actually asymptomatic. So the concern
he was tested in his isolation, wasn't he? So he shouldn't have had any contact with the side at all, if I'm right in saying.
No, but the incidence of asymptomatic cases is more of a detriment to what could else be going on. They could have had asymptomatic cases already, is what I'm saying to you. Like a stealth bomber, they would have been unnoticed in a lot of cases. And that's what I'm more concerned. When someone's visibly not well, you can deal with it in a way which is pretty clear. But when someone's walking around perfectly healthy, social distancing goes out the window.
Yeah, what I mean is I don't think Daniel Sams would have had any contact of anyone to be able to
With
pass it
anyone.
on. I think he landed, went straight into quarantine, and then his second test 4 or 5 days later, he tested positive. So it's not like he would have been training or hanging about with everyone to pass it on before he got tested.
Well, hang on a minute. Where did he get it from?
Well, as I think I saw that sometimes these symptoms you can test on day one, and because the symptoms haven't had time to grow or manifest, I don't know what the right word is. I'm certainly not a doctor. Maybe they've just I think the way it works is that hotel staff drop your laundry off or like bed sheets outside the door.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something lingering on a door. I don't know. There's obviously some way he's picked it up, but maybe
So
he
you're
just
saying that he picked up in India?
Well, I assume he
don't know.
has to be it's either he's picked up in India or he's picked up not in India. So it's probably a 50-50. It's either that the symptoms weren't quite showing yet when he got tested first time, and then he did a few more. But at least he wouldn't have had any contact with his side to be able to pass it around, because you would say that if that happened, then RCB would probably be have to pull out, or have to not play.
Okay. No matter what you're saying, the reality is we don't know where it came from. We don't know when he got it, where he got it, how he got it. That's disastrous. Okay?
At least they got it before he got out, though.
The fact that he was asymptomatic means there are many others that are likely to have been asymptomatic that are floating in and around that bunch that would have been assumed healthy. Even though they're tested heavily, I've talked to many medical experts here in Australia. Asymptomatic cases are actually worse than the heavy cases. Why? Because the freedom of movement is evident well before you even know it's there. More than anything else. So that's the word of warning. Official side, Preity admitted England are the better side.
What?
I don't think Munchie that's right at all, Munchie.
Thank you. April Fool's just you're a few days late, Si.
Yeah.
They're not.
Carl is also COVID positive, and
I think it's a joke. Official side came on and said,
I was just saying,
"What did I
April
miss?" And
Fool's
Munchie
passed.
said, "Yeah, Preity admitted England the better side." Yeah.
Okay. Official side. Well, you've missed out quite a bit. We've talked highly about our fans that come on time.
I think he's been there on time. He told me he's gonna tune in so he can watch me speak about the breakdowns and things like that.
So official side, when you're 35 minutes late, that's not very good. Considering it really is 10:30, not 9:30 like my time. It's the same time we've always used, by the way. The same time we've always used. All right. This is great. I'm enjoying this conversation, guys. I really am. The banter. Chris's video is lagging. The spooky batting.
I didn't watch it. I just watched the very beginning.
It's I would. It's not too enthralling, Preity. Don't worry.
I think it was fun.
It was fun. I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't want Preity to sit through it. She's got far more better things to be doing.
Preety's got 95,000 of her own video to watch 10 times over and comment on.
And I've got beautiful exotic islands to hop to.
I've heard from the Hollywood press, from the paparazzi.
Ooh.
You know what the truth is?
What?
Preity has green screens, and she's actually sitting on Hollywood Boulevard. She hasn't moved a millimeter.
I don't know.
Green screen.
There you
go.
Wow.
Green screen.
Do that. I have a question on the IPL this year with COVID in mind, and it's not about COVID. Do you think if there wasn't the World 2020 in October, do you think they wouldn't have had the IPL now? Do you think they would have tried to host it in October, November time, and just give a bit more time for COVID to clear off, as it were?
Yep, I think they've stuffed it, to be honest with you.
I don't know why they're having two, huge. IPL is every year, so I suppose you'll have 1 year where you have either an ODI World Cup or the Test World Cup simultaneously, right? But we have enough months, I think, between the two tournaments, right? IPL and the T20 World Cup.
The thing is, the IPL is a yearly fixture, isn't it? And I guess I know that obviously it's a great cricket, but it's a massive money earner. As much as it's a great glamorous cricket tournament, it's obviously a massive source of income and worldwide TV rights and everything. So I just wonder if there wasn't the World Cup this year, whether they would have given it a few more months and just so you can get fans in. Although they obviously were intending on having fans, weren't they? But COVID is not clearing off anytime soon, so that would be a disappointment.
But they're not not having the fans actually doesn't affect their revenue. They're going to make so much money out of this tournament, whether there's a fan or not. I think that's the beauty of it, the way that it's structured.
The fans don't necessarily bring the money. You're right. I've had a brainwave, not a brain snap, but a brain wave. Munshi, Biram, Irani, official Sai. Who else we got there? You guys, I think it's high time, guys. It's high time. Either tomorrow or the day after, we're going to have an episode where you guys are on screen.
You don't want Munshi on screen, trust me.
Munshi's got no choice.
Face for radio,
Munshi. Official is it official side? We've had official sign before, but Munshi, Biram, Irani, who rang me the other day while I was on air, which is a bit funny. I actually have one guy that rings me all the time, and he says he's going to commit suicide if I don't get him a bowling contract. I don't know where this bowling contract is going to come from. Anyway, the reality is that we need to have a bit of those people. I'm going to have an episode where we bring them in for about 5 minutes or so, have a bit of a chat, and they can go. What do you reckon, guys? We should do that. We'll pick them up.
If you're going to get Munshi on, I'd like to be on with him because I know him personally, so that would be good fun.
Munshi, make a comment. Munshi, please save me for the summer, Norman. Let the Indian guys talk about the IPL. Okay. Oh, but that's a confirmation from Munshi that he's going to be on in the summer. Okay?
What we'll do in the summer when we're allowed back out, I live about 15 minutes from Munshi. We'll go and I'll go and have a beer with him, or we'll find a cricket ground and we can do one together or something.
I'm looking forward to it.
Fine. And I'll make sure he's got a mask on or a paper bag.
It's pretty nasty. Munshi, it's pretty nasty. I wouldn't accept it. And Iran will have to shave. Why should he shave? I haven't shaven. There was a question that he's touching a beard and there's nothing there. All right. Preity, where are you? Are you omnipresent? Are you present?
Ravi Sastry said, "Tell me your favourite team and players in the IPL." So you can have two favourite teams and two favourite players, I reckon.
You have.
Well, I mean, in general, what do you think, Preity? Who's your favourite team and favourite player?
Me.
Or Preity, both of you.
I didn't hear the last. Can you repeat the question? I didn't hear the last bit.
Who's your favourite team and who's your favourite player? Don't have to be the same.
For the IPL or other formats?
No, from curling in Ireland, of course, in the IPL.
For the IPL. No, I mean, excuse me. I mean, we sort of briefly talked about some of these other ones. So look, it's an emotional decision. Dhoni is my favorite player of all time, right? So as probably a billion Indians who also feel the same way. So just for his sake, I want CSK to do well. They are not the strongest team. They will not win. I can tell you that. If they make it to the 4, that will be what a fantastic miracle that will be, and that will be. I don't know if this is Dhoni's last time playing IPL, but if that's the case, then that would be a perfect ending for him. I think everybody would be very, very thrilled. So just because of just personal kind of emotional reasons, I want CSK to do well, but I don't predict that they will win or anything like that.
They're your favorite team, so regardless
of the best player. Your favorite player.
Regardless of who, so it's just an emotional. So they're your favorite team.
Okay. In my case,
Oh no, they're not. I mean, I think Mumbai Indians, to be honest, I like the fact that they're so desi, and their match winning core really are all Indians, and there are some teams I'm thinking KKR is one of them, and a couple of others which are pretty over dependent on the overseas players, and I don't think that should be the case. And I don't like, and I think a couple of them even have, like Sunrisers, they have international captains, and I think you should always have an Indian captain considering it's the IPL. So things like that. I just think that from when I look at those issues, I think Mumbai Indians, to me, are the most Indian team, and they're the winners anyway. So if they won, I would be very thrilled. You know, it wouldn't take any joy away from me.
All right. So I may have lost my thoughts then, but you said CSK, Preity, was your favourite team?
Mumbai is a favourite team.
What happened to
No,
CSK?
you missed everything. No,
I
I
heard it,
said
but
because
what
my
happened to
favorite
CSK
player is
then?
Dhoni. I want
Yeah.
CSK to do well.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But my favorite is MI, in terms of the quality and who I think is going to win and who I think should deserve to win. To be honest, you know.
All right. So it's Mumbai Indians now. Favorite
Mumbai
player?
Indians and Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
Okay.
Well,
right.
it's Mahendra Singh Dhoni, but again, this is I'm
slow
talking about
today,
he's my
Norman.
all-time favorite player, so I'm not looking at for this
Okay,
for just
my
this
favourite
IPL season. I don't know. I think Pant is going to do so well. So excited to see him. Sky is going to do very well as well. You know, so there are some star players to look out for. But I suspect there are going to be some surprises. There's going to be some new young players doing very well. We have plenty of them in each team, which is how it should be. You know, really young players doing very, very well.
Can I summarise? We've jumped from CSK to MI to this person, that person, over the shop, round the corner. So back to where we are. It's MI for you and CSK, and not CSK, MI and Dhoni. Okay, they're the two.
What about yours,
For me,
Norman?
my favourite team is KKR. It's always been from day one, because the influence of Simon Kaddish when he was there, and I like Kolkata. I like Kolkata anyway. But Delhi Capitals will win, as I've said. My favourite player, to me, the IPL has always been Dhoni. You're right, and my early connection with watching him play was always Dhoni, was the IPL. But I really think Pant's my favourite player at the moment. For what he will do, not what he has done, but what he will do. All right. So, Amit Ambakar's laughing. I'm not sure who he's laughing at, but
what about me?
I'm about to go to you, Chris. I want to know what's on the hat again. What's the hat again?
Oh, so I bought some new cricket kit this morning, and it's a friend of mine who runs his own. He actually grows and sells bats to India as well, to SS and a lot of guys. But it's Hell for Leather cricket, and you can probably see. And I said, Hell for Leather. It's actually a really cool brand. Makes bats. And he sends, I think he said, sort of 600, 700 clefts of wood off to India at a time sometimes. So he's just a guy, he's brilliant. So I said, I got a hat and I said to wear it. So, shout out to Bart at Hell for Leather.
Well, I'm about to get hats, by the way. It's funny you mentioned it, because I actually went today to look for hats and logos. I'm going to do a very simple YouTube logo, the little symbol with eyes on cricket on it. Okay, so
with a little rabbit on it.
Oh, that's an idea. It's an idea. And you'll all have one. What colour do you want, Preity?
What are the options?
CSKA yellow you can have.
We're not CSK. Eyes on cricket.
I don't like yellow. I like purple. No. That's my favorite color. So if you have something in purple, actually that's the the Challengers color, right? Purple, and I love purple and gold. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's a good color.
All right, I'll get that. So when I'm planning on, I went today to, well, in fact, you can't go anywhere. Everything's on bloody line. You can't go anywhere to physically try them. I went into Rebel Sports, which is our main sports place, and they still print your name on the back of a shirt with a number. I said, well, that's great, but I don't want, maybe I should have got a shirt saying eyes on cricket. Anyway, also. All right, okay, so that's my plan. So I will get that for you. It'll be coming soon, guys. It's overdue. Well, not really overdue. We haven't been that long. All right. Chris, would you look up, please?
I'm just waiting for you to ask me who my favourite team is.
Chris Vernon, who is your favourite team and who's your favourite player, please?
RCB is my favourite team. Not because they're the best. You can't. One thing you can't say is accuse me of being a glory hunter with RCB. My favourite player, I have two. Chris Gale and AB de Villiers are my favourite two players. If I had to pick one to score 100 in an IPL game, I would love to see Chris Gale whack another 100 in the IPL this year. Just because, I mean, I think he made his international debut in 1999. Like, I think he's played over 23 years, and I just don't know how anyone can not like him. I think he's just a typical West Indian, laid back. He loves it. I just don't know how you can not just love or be enthused by watching Chris Gale play or want him to do well. So yeah, I think Chris Gale has to be right up there.
The truth is, he's the most likable fellow. He is the nicest guy. And in a normal room of 20 or 30 people, he's shy. He's actually quiet until you ask him to rev up. And when you muck around with him, like I know him quite well. Many occasions he's been fantastic. We've had lots of dinners because of his relationship with Spartan and Kunal Sharma, and they knew how to party. And a guy called Kamal Khan, they knew how to party. I remember being in a Pakistani restaurant in Harris Park, and we were, for some reason, some stupid Greek guy had these plates and was smashing them on the ground and made a mess of the restaurant when it was not a Greek restaurant, it was a Pakistani restaurant. And he broke plates, and the way that Kamal Khan, the guy, operated it, and the way that what's his name, Gale handled it was brilliant. They were disturbed, but they handled it really well. They showed a great deal of class. This idiot, he's this great guy. He's an absolute goose, absolute flip. He thought he was great because he broke all these plates to show off. He made an absolute fool of himself. I was disgusted what he was doing because he ruined perfectly a good place because he thought it was a great day, and it wasn't. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm blowing my trumpet there. Anyway, so Black Magic says Warner was cool with his dancing shoes on. Actually, Warner's made a concerted effort with his TikTok and his other social media platform to really get into India, and I do take my hat off to him. He has been endearing when he's done that, I must say.
Yeah.
I do. Warner's attitude when he's in India is actually very, very different than it is in Australia.
Yeah.
The arrogance that he has, quite often you'll see in Australia, doesn't exist in India. He's totally welcoming, giving. I would argue it's probably the true Dave Warner, to be honest. When he revels and he's with his kids, he's nice as pie. In Australia, for some reason,
but you know what, Norma, that's also India for you. It does that to you. It completely disarms you. There's so many people all around the world, celebrities, famous, whatnot, real, very, sort of narcissistic, conceited people, whatnot. When they go to India, it's just, it kind of completely consumes them, and it spits them out, and it's their kind of their best self, their most spiritual self in a way that reemerges. So it does that to you, That's why when you go there, you have a life-changing experience.
Do you think that there's the arrogance goes because it's not like country, there's no country like Ashes or international, it's more of a laid back tournament. I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's because it's not an international game. It's almost like all the players are there for the spectacle and for each other, like all the teams, although it's really fiercely competitive, they all buy into what the IPL is about. So you don't see much sledging, you don't see much nasty stuff. It's played in a hard way, but in a much better way, if that makes sense. Whereas I think international cricket becomes more of that.
Yeah, it's actually good. It's a little different. I mean, yeah. Because the nationalism would really be, it's the Indian Premier League. So I think it's great to see international players actually playing for India. I think sometimes they may be only thinking about a paycheck, and for the first time in history now, cricket players are rich and famous now thanks to that IPL. But at the end of the day, it's really good for India on so many levels. So that's good.
Okay, we've got a question from Vera Irani. Although we've had some good comments I've seen about players such as DJ Bravo and even Shane Warne when he played IPL. They were rather they had a lot of fun. Bravo, Gale, even Shane Warne, they had fun. And look, Warner literally puts another hat on the horizon, and there he's such a engaging fellow. When I first met Dave Warner years ago at a media association dinner, I was speaking on the side. He was really, really, really pleasant. But he did change. He has changed on occasions, and it really annoys me when he's not himself. Okay, Chris, answer the question from Bira Marani.
Someone also asked who my favourite Indian player was in the IPL. Can I do a past, because he doesn't play anymore, but one of my favourite Indian players of all time, Virender Sehwag. I grew up watching Test cricket and one-day cricket as an opening bat, and he was just, him and Gale really were just the two that, Virender Sehwag, what an unbelievable cricketer, like just whacked it. You could watch him bat all day. Current player, India, current player. I have a feel. I like Indian cricket as a general. No one really stands out as a favourite player for me. I'd like, I could watch Ishan Kishan bat all day. I could watch Hardik Pandya whack it. Boomer bowl. I don't know. I think it's hard for me to pick a favourite at the moment, but my favourite captain. I should say O'Morgan, but I'm going to say Kane Williamson.
But he's not captain.
Isn't he captain? He has been captain. Okay, my favourite. I mean, you have to respect Rohit Sharma, don't you?
No, they're asking you about your favourite Indian captain in the IPL.
Okay, then it has to be Rohit Sharma, I think. Who else is there? Rohit Sharma's tried and tested and proven.
Well, the best is Dhoni, but yeah, I mean, if you like Sharma, yeah, he's fantastic, amazing captain. Absolutely.
You know who the most annoying captain was ever? The most annoying to me? Shane Watson. And I'll explain why. I was at I think it was 2015 or 16 opening ceremonies, and they had all the Indian captains come on these like Olympic style daises. Shane Warne, they're all out there, massive crowd, 120,000 at Salt Lake City Stadium there in Kolkata. Massive crowd. They were well and truly started, and Shane Watson moseyed on up to his spot extremely late, almost like he didn't care. And I thought that was disgraceful. It was a very poor thing, and I don't care what his excuses were. They were pretty poor. All right.
I don't know if Preity can still hear. Because we can't see her. Her screen's gone black.
Oh, she must be doing something that she doesn't want us to see. She'll come back on.
But
Adam Gilchrist, I'm trying to recollect his involvement with the IPL.
He might have played a couple at the start, but when did he retire? The first IPL was 2008, wasn't it?
I don't remember Shane. I don't remember Gilchrist at all.
Good question here from Milan via Thiayathil, Vith Ayathil. Mr. Norman, Kochnak, and Mr. Vernon and Preity. I don't know if you've already discussed this topic, but what's your opinion on the Quinton de Kock run-out incident with Zaman Fakhr Zaman? Was it fair? Did you see it, Norman?
That's a good question.
Of course. It was disgraceful. It was very unsportsmanlike. He could have easily. It was not necessary. The guy deserved 200. He could have easily have avoided that happening. It was an unfortunate run. It wasn't based on great feeling. It was just de Kock should have grabbed it, and not the stumps.
I don't have a problem with it. I think that you're trying to win a game. He's not cheated. He's not been abusive. I think it's as much that Fakhr Zaman needs to be better than that. I know he's in 190. You need to be better skilled than that. It's I don't think de Kock's doing anything other than a little bit of, he's trying to just put a bit of pressure on the field. I don't think it's disgraceful.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. My take on this. I put a poll out, actually. I wanted to know what people thought. It was pretty mixed. There were people saying it was really appalling, and then it was people saying, no, he did you know, the guy should have, that was just a lazy batting, and he just took his eye off the ball for a second, and that's how, when you have a great wicket keeper, that's how the stumpings happen. I mean, you know, I think the only issue, I don't think Quinton did it. I don't think he wanted to deny him 100. Obviously, he wanted to get him out at any point. I think maybe the only thing was he sort of pretended that the ball should have been thrown at the other end, and that was sort of, he did that intentionally to, I think, confuse the people running between the wickets, and maybe that was the only thing. Like, he shouldn't have done that, maybe, because it kind of. But hey, the batsman always needs to be on point, and you have to run faster, especially if you're so close to a 200.
I tell you what, he batted well though. Batted fan.
It must be the highest score to not win a game in a one-day.
No doubt. No
Very
doubt.
sad, right? Yes.
No doubt.
Can't believe it. He got 100 today as well. Did you see? The third one day is today. They got 320 odd, and Fakhar Zaman got another 100, and Babar Azam got 94, I think.
Pakistan's got some real. I just love the way Pakistan unearth these players every time. That are just raw champions. Okay, there's a bit of talk about Adam Gilchrist, that he won as captain for the Deccan Chargers, and he was also played for Kings 11 Punjab. And I now recollect his Deccan Chargers, but Deccan Chargers became defunct, so that's another issue. Who are the two teams coming in for next year? Pune?
I'm not sure.
Don't know.
One of them is Pune, I'm pretty sure. Guys, can you tell me in the messaging who the two teams are?
Not sure.
Okay. All right. Chris, do you have to go?
No, I'm okay for the moment. I was meant to have something, but I might have to dive off. I haven't heard back. I meant to have a client Zoom, but he hasn't messaged me. So,
All right, so
the one thing I would like to see in this upcoming in the T20 World Cup, and I know that just from a purely cricket perspective and take all politics out of it, is India-Pakistan as a game is always just such a brilliant spectacle from a cricket only. If you take out all everything behind it and what the game, the atmosphere in those stadiums, and because I don't think that cricket fans sat in that stadium, I think that they're just there and love the sport and want their team to win, and that's why the atmosphere is so great. And you know, it's always, and it's a shame that those games are marred by other things that go off behind the scenes, and I get that, and I'm not disagreeing with that. It's just a shame to see arguably the two most passionate nations in cricket and the biggest fan bases don't get to play each other very often. And as a cricket fan, that's just a shame, because the game over here in the ICC Champions Trophy, I think Pakistan won in the last time they played over here. That atmosphere was just fantastic, and they obviously were very clever. They put it in Birmingham, which is or Manchester, which is a very high population of, you know, Indian and Pakistani people. So it's just from a cricket point of view, it's just a shame that those two great countries don't get to play each other more often, just from the spectacle, really.
So we're getting confirmation. Pune, as I thought, and Gujarat, which is Ahmedabad, effectively. Uttar Pradesh. What's the capital of Uttar Pradesh?
It's they changed the name. It's Prayagraj.
Okay.
It used to be Allahabad.
Yeah, so I don't think they're coming from. And Lucknow's not in.
UP doesn't have a team.
No,
so.
okay, and Lucknow's not. No, so I'm pretty sure it's
Lucknow
Pune.
is in UP as well. It doesn't have a team. Yeah.
No, it's Pune, and I'm pretty sure it's Pune and Ahmedabad, effectively Gujarat.
Gujarat which? Okay.
Gujarat.
One of the teams came in when CSK had time out, didn't they? Who was it? Gujarat Lions replaced.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was Gujarat Lions, which is effectively Ahmedabad. And of course, because of Ahmedabad, the presence of a ground there of that stature, they're going to want a team that's going to be part of that stadium as well. All right, hello. PHP. My view on Quinton. What if keeper says to the fielder to throw at other end, but fielder throws to his end and batsman gets out? How do you blame the keeper? But fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah,
I think on that, it's just poor batting. I think you've just got to be better than that. You know, I
agreed. You know.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right.
What does PHP 125?
So, as far as I'm concerned, we've got a very good handle on this. And we haven't even had the first game yet. Now,
No.
the first game will be between Mumbai Indians and RCB, and that's going to be an extremely significant match to set the platform for both those teams. And I think Delhi Capitals is the next. I've got to confirm that. But they're very, very powerful games, the first few. And I'm excited because we're going to be doing definitely previews and post views. I'm going to leave the post views a little bit later. I'm not doing it right after the game because I don't want viewers to be competing with a lot of other platforms like, Quick Buzz and all the rest of them. They're on the split second the game's finished. We do as we did during the Test series. We go a little bit later. Do you agree? We don't want to compete with other platforms.
Yeah.
Just do it later, so we've got to time to ourselves and we get our best audience. I think that's a very good point. After getting 36,000 and 25,000, they were massive. Weren't they massive? Remember the 2.5 hour one that we had?
Yeah, I was on that until the very end with you. It was so fun, But we spoke about great, very interesting things, and especially towards the end of it.
Isn't it amazing? We've built up a great rapport. It's coming naturally now. I mean, we know each other well enough. It's quite special, don't you think, guys?
Can we?
You stop itching yourself. What are you itching so much for? You're itching, you're pulling, you're stretching.
I've got a bad back, so I'm just stretching my back out. If that's okay with you, Norman.
All right, guys, we might leave it at that. I think we've done very well.
We've got a good question actually from Kanav Barley. Orange and purple cap predictions.
What?
Who's going to win the orange?
Explain to me the orange cup, purple cup.
Orange cap is most runs, purple runs is most wickets.
Orange is most runs, purple's most wickets. Okay. What about all-rounder? Is there anything for an all-rounder?
No, I mean, I think some people, on rare occasions, some players have had both, but I think it's, I think Jack Callis might have at one point early in the tournament had both at one point when he was playing.
Okay, there's the question. The best all-rounder in the tournament.
Ooh.
I mean, I think I think Ben Stokes and Jason Holder.
Hardik.
No, I don't know Ben Stokes. He's going to be the most expensive bowler. Trust you. Watch during those overs. Hardik Pandya is definitely up there. And
isn't it funny how we're mentioning Hardik now because we were bagging him throughout the series about not being able to do.
No, but come on, he's class. You can't.
I don't think Hardik will bowl much for Mumbai. I think they've got all bases covered. Same as Stokes. I think Stokes will probably bowl a little bit more now that Archer is gone, but they need Hardik to be playing World Cup, Test Match Championships. So Hardik will bowl a little bit. I don't see him bowling 4 overs a game, that's for sure.
Jadeja. I mean, well, he is the best, one of the best. To be honest, I actually want to see Sam Curran do very well. He's also, again, both for CSK, right? So that's either or. But I think Jadeja or Pandya, between them, they would be the best all-rounders.
I think it's quite difficult to be a genuine all-rounder in the IPL just because in cricket in general, an all-rounder tends to bat 6 or 7. Generally.
Jadeja is a batsman all-rounder. I think I don't see him as a bowler. And he needs to bat up, not down. He's at a good 6, I think. No lower than that.
Kanav Barley on Norman said earlier, best all-rounder could be Glenn Maxwell.
Well, actually, that's a very good point. If on his day, his bowling is very, very good. I think he's understated.
Yeah, I think with Jadeja, he's such a fantastic fielder too. So he's probably the best person.
Is Jadeja playing? He's not playing.
Of course he is. Are you kidding me?
I think he's fit.
Is he playing?
Yes, he's one of their best. No,
I know he is, but is he actually playing?
Yes, he's fit.
Okay.
So Suman Awasthi says KL Rahul orange cap again, purple cap would be Jasprit Bumrah. I'm going to stick a wild prediction out there, and I'm going to say Devdutt Padikkal for RCB as a young up and coming. Most runs as a debutant season last year. I think he scored 450, 500 in 15 games. Most as a newcomer. And I think that he could go close. I don't know if he'll win it, but I think that he's going to be one to watch. I think we said a few weeks ago that Padikkal, Sky Yadav, going to bat 3 for Mumbai. You know, I don't see why he can't have a good, you know, and these guys have got a point to prove. You know, he wants to be playing in that World Cup. You know,
it might be Sharma or Sky for the most runs. Bumrah for the most wickets, possibly. I mean, I'd like to see Rabada or Angiri also. I mean, they're also contenders.
I think that Norkia,
maybe Rabada.
I think Norkia will take more wickets. Could be a good shout for the bowling. He just seems to be bowling really well at the moment. Rabada's had a quietish few months in the Test side, but Norkia seems to be bowling quick, seems to be bowling well. So, yeah, Norkia for wickets, and yeah, maybe Padikkal. Nitish Rana.
It would be good if it's like surprise, you know, something. Two people that we didn't expect. Somebody really overperformed.
I could see.
I mean, remember, I was reading some statistics, and you like this, Chris, because the most number of sixes, of course, by an international player is, of course, Chris Gale, but the most number of sixes in the history of IPL for an Indian player is Dhoni. So, you know, even though there's so many young, great, players coming in to make sixes, the all-time record it's still held by MS Dhoni.
I just worry that Dhoni's slightly past his best.
No, I'm not saying for this season. I'm just saying, it was just a statistic, and I was like, oh wow. I
always find interesting that I think Suresh Raina is the leading run scorer ever. Is that right in the IPL? Suresh Raina?
Yeah.
Yes, again, and
someone you would never think.
Yeah, who's the leading wicket taker,
but
not for IPL. I think
day one as well. He's played from day one.
Yeah.
Someone you'd never think.
All right, guys. Last question
people,
before we go. Kanav Bal, since IPL is in India this time and we have relatively bigger crowds, well, we have no crowds, there's a high chance the spinner might grab the purple cap. I don't think so.
There seems to be a massive always that spinners play a huge part in 2020 cricket, but the way that the IPL has gone and the way that the auction tends to go generally is that sides go in big for their fast bowlers. Look at the IPL auction of last year's. Who are the most expensive? It's Cummings, Jameson, Guy Richardson, Riley Meredith. It's Jofra Archer. You know, it's the prize assets seem to be the big overseas fast bowlers, and then tend to build around it. But you know, someone like Rashid Khan's always going to take loads of cricket. He's class.
All right, guys, we're gonna stop now. All right, I've got something I've got to do. So.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Can I just take 30 seconds for something? I was asked a question by someone in the last episode. I want to answer it. It's Music Harmony wanted to know my CSK playing 11 for the first thing. I just want to let him know this is the sequence. Gaidwak, the young player, Faf du Plessis, Ambati Raidu, Suresh Raina, Dhoni, Jadeja, Karan Sharma, Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar, Moin Ali, and Imran Tahir. So there's the CSK playing 11 for their first game.
And you've just, that's a great side with Thakur, Sam Curran. Yeah. They got some good players there.
Very solid, very experienced. So don't count them out.
All right, guys. Ciao. Thank you again, Chris at Vern 158, Preity Upala at the Preity Effect Experience, a number of platforms, and Norman Koshnek here. Eyes on Cricket. So glad to have you guys here. We'll talk about future episodes very soon. Okay. So all the best, guys. So take care.
Nice seeing you.
All the best.
Thanks, Preity.
Bye. Enjoy.